Good morning, everybody. Just give us a few minutes here. We're just admitting everybody to the meeting. So we'll get started here in about a couple of minutes as Chelsea lets everybody in. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Feel free to say hi if you want. It's okay. If you don't, then that's okay too.
Nobody will bite, I promise. No.
And wave.
Yeah.
There you go. Wow, we got what, 300 plus people worldwide joining us today. This is great.
I heard a sigh.
Okay, if you've just joined us, you just popping in, I want to welcome to this presentation training. Just give it a few more minutes. We're just admitting people. So we'll just start here, probably about 1 or 2 minutes. We'll get rolling and do some training on the estimating app. Chelsea, let me know when you let everybody in.
Okay, everybody that's here is in, and
Oh, okay.
this is recorded, so I'll send out a link too. So if anyone joins later or whatnot, I'll make sure they get the link of the recording.
Well, perfect. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Then we will go ahead and get started.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us today. The estimating app training. I do appreciate it. I want to welcome everybody that has trained with us in the past. Just recently, a lot of the trainings we had. This is recorded, as Chelsea had mentioned. So if you do miss any of this, you can always go back and reference it. I'm going to take you through the basics setup of the estimating app that we've developed. This has been in the works for about 5 years. We launched it about 5 years ago, and we're always making improvements. So if you have any feedback or anything, I'd love to hear about it. And I do a lot of work, myself on the estimating app. So if there's anything I can change, right off the bat, I would definitely like to do that. So if you don't mind, if everybody can just mute their microphones for now, so we don't get any dogs barking or kids screaming in the background. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I want you to ask questions either in the chat. Chelsea, is the chat, is that the best way to do this?
Yeah, you guys can use the chat box, or you can raise your virtual hand, which if you go to the bottom of your little taskbar, you'll see a reactions button. You can click that, and then it gives you a little hand to raise. Whatever works best, and we'll make sure everyone gets taken care of.
Yeah, so if you want to turn your mic on and you want to ask a question, you're more than welcome to. Yeah, so we'll go from there. Anyway, welcome. This is, as I mentioned, this is an estimating app that I've developed over the years. These formulas that we're utilizing in the app is something that a lot of the guys that we've trained over the years are still using to this day. The guys, are the guys and girls that are using this. They may not necessarily go in the app and use it, but they learned off this app or off these numbers. And we tried to, be with the ages and simplify it and make it easier. So we developed it and put it in the app form. So if there's any questions and you need help, if you're not understanding it after this tutorial, this training, I'm more than willing to sit down with you and run you through it one-on-one if we need to. I want to make sure you're prepared for the season when you're going into it. So, there's a lot to this app. I'm one of the main developers of this app. So, for me, it's just, I know like the back of my hand. But I do understand this is foreign to you guys, but I want to make sure you understand it. So this is the perfect time for this. We're still early on the season. I want you to get in there and practice, and don't get frustrated. Call us. Make sure if you have any issues or you have any questions, make sure you contact us so we can guide you through it and make sure you understand it. This estimating app is developed to ensure that you're not losing money. And going into the season, I know that's one of the hardest parts of estimating and bidding, is understanding how to bid trees. That's the number one place you can lose money, is underbidding trees. So we've developed it to help prevent that from happening. So we're going to make sure that you're profitable from day one, and make sure that you're bidding all your projects properly. So if you haven't done our training, that's okay. You can still use the estimating app if you have an interest. You can just put your information in the chat and we can reach out to you and get you all set up. Okay, so any questions starting off? Do we have anything? Nothing yet?
No, nothing yet.
Okay. Just let me know. Just pipe in if you want, Chelsea, if you see anything pop up in the chat box or if there's anything that somebody raised their hand, let me know and we'll break and take a question.
Okay,
Okay. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you have to figure out what your per minute break even is, what we call it. The per minute break even essentially is if your crew is out there standing on a project, whatever it is, residential, commercial, doesn't matter what it is, what is it costing you per minute for them to stand there and do nothing, essentially. So that's what we need to figure out first in order for this app to work. It will not work if you don't put this in the system, in the settings. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to clipau.com. So you can see in the URL up here, it's clipau.com. Once you get to CLIPA, there's going to be an estimating tab right here. And you're going to go down to estimating calculators. Okay. Once you click on estimating calculators, you're going to see two different types of calculators here. And this is how we figure out our per minute break even. Okay. There are two different opportunities here. We can just do labor only. If we want to just put our crew leader, crew member 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth, we can input that information in there and just get a simple one here. So I'll just do basically 25 for my crew leader. And then let's say I'm paying 18, 18, 18. You can see it does all the calculations for me. So at the bottom here, I've got $1.98. So this is telling me right now, if we're standing on a property with 4 crew members and that's what I'm paying them, it's going to be $1.98. That's what it costs me per minute for them to stand there. Okay. So we would take that number, that $1.98. That's a simple calculation. If I want to clear it, I can clear the form, just hit clear, it'll clear it for you. And then if you want to go back and readjust it, you can. If you want to, if you've been doing this for a while and you have expenses, even if you haven't been doing it for a while, you can still use our average expenses if you want, or guesstimate this information. So for instance, I've got some average 535 for auto and truck expenses. With that, what I want to do is I want to take a 4-month average because the season is about 4 months. We start in October, we install October, November, and then part of December. And then what goes up must come down. So we're taking down in early January, somewhere to mid-January, depending on how many projects we have. So I would take this based on a 4-month period is what I would take. So I'd take 535, gotta get my trusty calculator. So 535 times 4. So I would enter 2140 right here. Gas expenses, that gas is expensive these days, as we know. So you really want to make sure you try to figure this out. For me, I would probably imagine we are filling up at least twice a week. So I would aim high on it. I'm going to say at least $300 a week that we're utilizing in gas expenses. Okay. Oh, and then I'm sorry, I'm going to multiply that times how many weeks we're doing it. So we're doing, I said 4 months, so I'm going to do 16 weeks. So that'd be 300 times 16 weeks, $4,800 for the season is what I'm going to put there. Payroll, again, you can do, take our average here. Me on the higher end, we pay a little bit more being in California. Our minimum wage is a lot higher. And for us to get employees, we got to pay a little bit higher. So our payroll expenses are going to be a little bit higher than the 25.3. That's just an average roughly. You can sit down and calculate that out. I'm going to put roughly about 35,000 here for me. Communications, anything you may have that you want to add there as well. 250. So I'll put 1,000 times it's 4 months. So as you can see, we're just basically just inputting this information. I'm just going to take the averages from here on out. You need to figure out what your expenses are and decide if you want to just do a labor only, or do you want to do the full expenses. Marketing, if you have a marketing budget, let's just put $3,000. Miscellaneous, anything else you want to add there? Okay. So you can see my little break even is going to be a little bit higher. My expenses are higher. You should be somewhere, I would say, in the low end and the high 1.9. That's on the very low end to 2 up to probably 3 on the high end. If you're above 3, then we need to talk and we'll go through the numbers together. But you really shouldn't be. You should be in that range of $2 to $3 somewhere in there. Okay. So once I figure this out, I'm going to take this $2.81 and I'm going to take that and I'm going to input it in the app. So we're going to go over to the app screen right now. I'm just going to go and minimize this. And that's my Zoom screen. Got it pulled up here. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be a full screen. You can use this app on your phone. You can use it on phone, iPad, whatever you want. This is obviously a full screen. You can use it on your computer as well. This is what you would see if you were using it on your computer. This is available for Androids, for iPhones, Apple. You can download it. We can send you the instructions. You decide you want to do it. What we'll do is set you up. You'll get an email invite. And from there, it'll take you through the instructions on how to download it and do all that stuff. So in order to get this app, you do need a Gmail account. So keep that in mind. If you don't already have one, then you can easily set one up. Just go and sign up for one. And then that's what we'll do is we'll send you an invite to that account. So make sure you have access to that email as well, because you'll need to download the instructions and all that stuff. First time you go in here, it's going to be blank. You're not going to have anything in here, completely blank. You'll just see the plus sign down here. You'll see some menu items at the bottom here. There's 4 menu items. If I click on it, it'll highlight it a gray color. Estimates, summary, customers. I'm going to go through all the stuff once we start getting some estimates in there. The first step you want to do is you're going to go up to your hamburger menu in the top left here. Okay. I'm going to click on that. You can see we have some more stuff. We got previous year estimates. We do have, you can go back if you want to look at, last year's, if you've been using this for a couple of years, you can go back and review your previous year estimates. Another thing with this app, which is great, is if you decide you don't want to use it all year, that's fine. We understand it slows down after February. Maybe you're not going to use it from February, to August or September or whatever. You can actually turn the app off. You just let us know. We can turn it off for you, and you won't be charged for that time period. And then as long as you reactivate it under the same account, all of your information will be in there. So you can go back in there. All your estimates will still be in there. Everything will be available for you. So you do have the flexibility. If you don't want to use it year round, you can definitely do that. Okay. So the first step we want to do is go down to settings. This is where we're going to set it up first. So I'm going to go in here. I've already got one setting in here. When you go in here, it's going to be blank. So when it's blank, you're going to click the little positive down here. It's going to pull up a window like this. You can see the note at the top, you cannot have more than one company set up. If you do, you're most likely going to get an error within the app. So make sure you only add one company to the app, okay? So there's all these different company name. You're going to put that on there. The address, phone number, cell phone number. You want to put your sales email where you want the estimates to go to if you utilize that tool, who the salesperson is. This is where we put our break even. So when I go back to my break even, it was 2.81. Okay, so I'm going to put 2.81 here. Actually, I'm going to cancel out of this. I'm going to go change my existing one. So this is my existing one that I have. I can edit it if I want to go back and change. Company name changes. I want to upload a different logo. I can do that as well. So all I would do, let me just go back to the beginning here. I'd go back to settings. When I have one in here, I click on it right here. And then I can click edit to edit any of the information. Maybe I want to adjust my break even up a little bit or down. I can go in here and make the changes. So this is all my stuff filled out: Celebration Holiday Studio, the Christmas Light Lane address, our phone number, email address. I just put, just a personal email address, salesperson, myself. And then I'm going to put the 2.81 right here for break even. How many crew members I'm going to use? Now, this is basically going to use for the minutes calculation. This app will tell you how many minutes it should take you for a project. Now, or for an install, like roof lines or anything like that. But you want to take it with a grain of salt because people move at different speeds. Your crew may be faster than my crew. So you really can't look at it and be like, oh, well, says it's going to take us 2 hours. I know I can do this in an hour and 15. What goes up must come down. You got travel time out there and stuff like that. So it's not a perfect science when it comes to how many minutes it's going to take you within each section. So I'm going to put 4 crew members in here because that's what I based my estimates on. Terms and conditions. If you do utilize the opportunity to send an estimate to a customer, there is a terms and conditions you can include on that estimate. If you decide you want to just send it to your office and put it in your CRM, you can do that as well. But there is an opportunity to send an estimate to the customer directly from the app, or you can send it directly to your maybe your admin, whoever's in the office, so they can take the information and put it in your CRM and then send an invoice where the customer can pay directly. There's currently not the opportunity to do that. If you send the estimate to the customer, basically it's just an estimate showing what you calculate and all that stuff. Okay, so if you decide to use that, you want to put the terms and conditions in here. You can edit this anytime you want. If you add something, that, you know, you didn't have before. You can always go back in here and edit it and add terms, conditions. Okay. Next spot is your markup. This is your labor markup. This is not lights. This is not any of that stuff. This is labor. So within each section, you're going to see your cost of what that section, you know, what it costs you to install those lights. And then you're going to have a markup. We're going to mark up labor. Okay. In this instance, I've got this is a default markup. So this can be, you know, you can put this whatever you want. I've just got it at 125. I have the ability within each section to mark it up more if I want to, or mark it down if I want to. If I decide, you know, the customer is really far away and there's, you know, I want to add a little bit more to it because we got to drive further, I might mark it up to 150, you know, percent markup or 175% markup. I can do that within the section. I don't need to worry about it. This is just what's going to populate once I go into each section. Labor tax rate, if you are charging, if you have to charge labor tax rate and you want to input that information in there. Product tax rate, if you're selling to the customer. If you're doing a leasing model, which that's what we train on, then if you're going to sell it to the customer, then you want to put a percentage on there because you do want to charge the customer, and then you have to pay your sales tax to the state. Upload your logo. So you can see I got my logo there. Once I get everything in there, I'm going to click save. And I've got all my information. So at this point, we are almost set to go. We do have a little bit more setup that we have to do. We've got our products in the system. Okay. So that will be the next step. You want to go to this back to the main menu. I'm going to go to the hamburger menu. Okay. And then I'm going to go to lights and Garland. This is where I'm going to input my products. Okay. You can see I have a bunch in here already. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add two different products, and I can delete anything too if I want to. I can go in here and I can edit this. I can just hit this little check mark. I'm going to go back because I went a little fast there. So if I'm going to delete any of these, which I'm going to do right now, just hit a little check mark, and that pulls up a little box over here. I can do this and just select all. And I have all these products because I've done a lot of trainings, and every time I go in there, I add more. I just forget to delete them. So I'm going to go ahead and delete them for you now so you can see. Yes, I'll delete those. Okay, so I've got no more products in here. So when you go in here your first time, you're going to see a blank screen, no items. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to click the add down below. Type of lights. I don't need to go in here and add, LED mini lights red, LED mini lights warm white, if my products are all the same price. I don't need to worry about that. I'm just going to put something basic. So first thing I'm going to do is add a strand as if it's a mini light. So I'm just going to put LED mini lights. For me, I use 4-inch spacing across the board, so I'm not even going to worry about that. If you decide that you mix and match, you can add two of them. You can add a 4-inch spacing because your 4-inch spacing is going to be more expensive than your 6-inch spacing. So if you do actually use two different types of products, you're going to want to add both of those, because when you select them in the menu, you're going to want to select the corresponding whatever you're installing with. Okay. So in this instance, I'm just going to do LED mini lights. Doesn't matter if it's red, green, blue. It's 4-inch spacing. It's all the same price for me. Okay. So I'm not going to worry about putting a full description there. Okay. Is this a strand? Yes or no? This is a strand. It's a strand of mini lights. I'm going to select yes. How long is the strand? 24 feet is what I use. So you want to make sure you can put that information in there, because the app is going to charge the customer according to how many strands you're going to be using. So the nice thing about the app is if you're, let's say I'm using 24-foot strands, I'm actually going to put 25, make it easier, 25-foot strands. If the calculations, if it calculates a tree and it actually calculates up to 76 feet, okay, that's 1 foot more than what my 3 strands will entail. It's actually going to charge the customer based on 4 strands, because you can't cut mini light strands. So it will charge them for 4 strands versus 3. If I put it exactly at 75 feet within the tree, or if it comes out to 75 feet, it's only going to charge them for 3 strands. Okay. What is the price of those strands? I'm just going to come up with a number. I'm going to put $11.50. Okay. You got to figure out what your cost is. What do you, not just your cost. I would probably incorporate what it costs to ship you, ship to you, add a little bit in there. You also want to add a couple more things in here. I like to add 15% to it, because I'm not going to nitpick and do, how many, males and females I'm using. If you want to, you can add clips in here as well. But I'm just going to incorporate into my price. Obviously we're not using clips on mini lights, or you may, but not in most cases. So I'm just going to add 15% to that 1150 times 0.15. So we're at 1322 is what I'm just going to put up to 1325. And that's what is going to charge the customer per strand once we select this item. Click save. Okay, got my mini light strands in there. Now the other product we're going to use, which is probably another one that's most popular, is my bulk light line. So I'm just going to do C9 bulk light line. If I use different spacing, I'm going to want to put both of those products in here. So if I use 12-inch spacing on some things and I put 15, and 15 on others, then I'm going to definitely want to put that in there. Okay, I just use 15-inch across the board is what I use. It doesn't matter what you guys use. You just got to make sure that you're charging accordingly. Okay, so with this, I'm going to take my bulk light line, my cost of my 1,000-foot spool, whatever that may be. I'm going to divide that by 1,000 feet. And then I'm going to figure out what my bulb cost is. So we're just going to make it easy. I'm going to say it's at 32 cents per foot for my bulk light line. And then I'm going to say my bulbs cost me, let's just say they're $1. So I'm going to put $1.32, 1.32 times 0.15. So I'm going to put $1.50 in here is what I'm going to put. Okay. And again, I added that. I'm sorry, that's the wrong spot right there. I'm going to put 1.5 here. This is going to be strand. This is not a strand. We can cut this to any length. So I'm going to put no. And then I'm going to put length in feet. I'm going to put 1 foot here. So I kind of got ahead of myself there. So this is going to charge the customer $1.50 per foot. And again, in this situation that I added 15% because we're not taking consideration the clips and all that stuff. If you want to, I would recommend you figure out what it is per bulb, per clip, and per socket, and then you can put that number in here. So it's pretty accurate where it's charging the customer per foot is what you're calculating. Okay. I'm gonna click save. Now I've got my LEDs and I've got my scene line bulk line. Okay. If I want to add another thing, let's say we do, wreaths and garland. Actually, let me see if that's back here. Wreaths, we have in a different section. If you want to add garland to that, you would do the same thing. So if I want to add a garland strand, I would do, in this case, you would probably do lit garland, and then you would do another one that's unlit garland. Is this a strand? We're going to put yes. How many feet is it? We use 9-foot sections. And then what is my cost per garland strand? I'm just going to throw a number out there. I'm just going to put $50. I'm not sure what the cost is, but I'm going to put 50 for this instance. Okay, so I've got lit garland. If I use a lot of unlit garland, I'm going to do the same. So it doesn't take too long to set up the products, but this is the next step you have to do after you do your settings. You've got to put products in there. You can always go back and edit these. The only thing you can't edit, you cannot edit the name. So if I go in here, I click into lit garland and I want to edit that. I'm not able to edit the name. I can edit everything else. If I want to, if I really want to change the name, what I can do is I can delete this. So I would just go back to my products. Sorry, I'm right here. And I would just click the little check button up top. And I would select here. And then I would just click delete. And then I re-add it, putting the description or whatever name I want to use if I want to change the name. That's the only thing you can't change is the name. Okay. All right, so I'm going to exit out of here. All right, so we are ready to estimate. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not ready to estimate. We're almost there. There's 2 ways you can do this. You can add the customer. So the first thing I'm going to do is add my customer. I go in here. Obviously, there's no items. If I go into an estimate, I'm ready to go. I'm excited. I want to start getting it going. I can actually add a customer through this screen as well. So I can select here and it'll say new customer. That's going to take me back to the customer screen where I input all their information. That's one option. The other option is just going back to customers, add a customer. Okay, I'm going to put John Smith. There are certain fields within here that are required. Obviously, name is required. If I want to send an estimate to the customer, I'm going to need the customer's email. I'm going to need, I don't need all this information, but you can see it's not required. Status is going to be what status are they at? So you can keep track of what's the status. Are they sold? Are they pending? Are they lost? And then there's actually a menu item where I can click on status for all of my customers and see how many have I sold, how many I lost, and categorize it for you. Okay. For this customer, we are good. We're just going to click save. Pretty simple. You don't need to add anything in there beyond that. They are pending. That's the current status. So here's the status opportunity right here. You can see John Smith is pending. If I had more estimates in here that were lost or won, they would be categorized under those corresponding titles. Okay, so we're ready to go with John Smith. We go to our estimate, which is down in the bottom right here. Okay, there's nothing under summary because we don't have anything going yet. We only have one under status because John Smith is pending. And then I've got my one customer I've added. So click over to estimates, add an estimate. Now that I've added John Smith, it's actually going to have John Smith within the items. So I'm going to select John Smith. Okay, he's going to be my first customer. And then we're going to decide what section we want to add. So here's all the different opportunities you have for sections: archways and arbors, balconies, fence lines, bushes, columns, pillars, extra equipment, light stakes, palm trees, ridges, roof lines, windows, wreaths, tree inside wrap, tree outside wrap, and yard art and displays. So you have a lot of different sections you can choose from within the app. So we're going to go ahead and start with just the basic one that we typically do is the roof lines. So I'm going to just select roof lines. Okay. So you can see on here, we got difficulty level 1, 2, 3, 4. I know there's a lot of talk in the forums of like, what do you charge per foot? For me, it's okay to charge per foot, but you really got to have a fluctuation because you can't just say, oh, I charge, $7.50 across the board or $8 across the board. Is because you have a ranch style house that's one level. You shouldn't be charging the same price if it's 2-story. So you should be charging more for that second story. So this is where the difficulty levels come into play. If you want to, you can go in here, you can put 100 feet and you can actually figure out, difficulty level 1, oh, that comes out to be, $7.50 per foot or whatever. If you really want to get to that point, you can figure it out by just putting some numbers in here. So difficulty level 1, if you go back to CLIPA U, which I'm going to show you right here. Under estimating, we actually have some tutorials where we give you examples of all the different stuff we're talking about. So there's actually a training here. We'll probably upload this video, but I do have, settings. I've got all sorts of stuff, instructions on how to set the stuff up. So if you're like, I don't want to watch the video again, I just want to go back and do a quick reference. This is some information right here. So if you click on roof lines, it's going to show you an example of what we consider. Well, that's kind of small. I have to figure that out. That's pretty small. So if you were able to see that, which I'm not, we do have some examples of difficulty level 1 is the green right here. Let me just see if I can blow this up a little bit. I'll figure out how to make it larger for you guys. Okay. So right here, you've got some examples of what we consider difficulty level 1, difficulty level 2, difficulty level 3, difficulty level 4. You need to determine when you go out to the project, you need to determine, okay, I've got 100 feet of difficulty level 1, I've got 75 feet of difficulty level 2, and so on and so forth. So here's some examples of what we consider. Difficulty level 1 is going to be anything lower roof line. Difficulty level 2 is going to be something that's upper roof line, but it's easy to get on the roof and walk and decorate. 3 is going to be, it's a little bit harder to get to. 4 is going to be something that's really difficult, like ridges and stuff like that. So you've got to determine when you get to the job site, how many feet of each difficulty level do I have? Maybe it's just ranch style. You don't have any, it's just all difficulty level 1. That's great. You can use A-frame ladder, no problem. So you're going to have to determine that number once you get out to the project, and you're going to put that number here. So we're going to do 150 feet of difficulty level 1, simple house. We've got nothing else. It's just a ranch style house, one level. Do I need to do staples? Okay. Anybody that's done this before, or, maybe went out and tried, stapling on a house or practice, that staplings take a long time. So anytime you're stapling, it takes forever. And then once you take that project down, it takes forever because you got to pull every single one of those staples out with your needle nose pliers. So what we do is we have a button in here. So is it a staple job? All I can do is select yes. That's going to add a percentage to the job. Okay. So I'm going to select no right now and show you down below, and we'll go back and we'll select that again in just a minute. Is there any special conditions I want to add to it? Yes or no? If you click yes, there's actually an opportunity to add a percentage to labor. Oh, you know what? We have to drive super far, so I'm gonna add 5%. Or they want us to decorate at nighttime, so therefore it's harder for me to get employees. So we're gonna add a little bit, a little bit percentage to it. So you can add that there. You can also add down below if you want. So I'm gonna put no. Anything I want to type out that I want to convey to the customer, if I'm using the estimating app as a, if I'm sending if I'm sending it to the customer, the estimate, this is where you're going to type the description. If you do an itemized work order, okay. So if I send it to the customer, you have two opportunities. I've got a itemized, which basically is going to show roof lines, $1,000. Bushes, $200, so on and so forth. It's going to break it down into each individual section that I use for this customer. Or I can just send it unitemized as Christmas light installation with just one number, or that's up to you how you want to send it. If I do itemized, I need to have a description in there. Maybe you want to type up a description to convey it over to your crews. So I really want to be, describe this, decorating roof lines. 360 degrees with warm white C9s. So if you want to convey that to my crew, then I can type that in there, send it as an itemized work order to the office is what I can do. Okay. I also have an opportunity to take a photo of it. So if it's the roof lines or a bush or whatever I want to take a photo of, I can snap a photo. You can actually draw on it. So once you do that with an iPhone or whatever you may have, you can snap a photo, you can actually draw on it, and that shows up on the estimate as well. So here's my markup. I was talking about my default markup that shows up. This was in the settings. This is my default markup. I can change it if I want. I can up it. If I want to go up to 130, I can up it. This is my total break even. This is what it cost me to do this project. Okay. Some guys that have been doing this for a while are like, oh no, that's not going to cost me that much. Keep in mind, you got to go back out there. There's time. You're paying your employees to go out there. You're paying them to drive to the site. So there's a lot of charges that go into this. So you got to keep that in mind. This is if I want to be nonprofit. This is what I'm going to charge the customer. We are not nonprofit. So we're going to charge with our 130% markup. We're going to charge $545.31 for labor. And then I'm going to go down and select my type of lights. My type of lights, we're going to do C9 bulk light line. Okay, 150 feet is what we're decorating. If you remember how much I put in the system for that, I think it was right around $1.55 or something like that. That's going to charge them $225 for the lights. Total cost for that project is $770.31. Okay, and I'm going to click save. Okay, so now we've got our estimates for John. I can click on John Smith and it'll show me what I've added there. So I've just got roof lines for John Smith. That's all we've got so far. And then what we can do is go add another section. Chelsea, how we doing on questions? You got anything?
So far, so good.
Okay, please ask if you guys have anything. Just let me know if I'm going too fast or if you're not sure what I'm doing here. So please ask away. All right, so we'll go ahead and add another section.
Do you have something on how to calculate bushes, or you're just not there yet?
I'm sorry, say it again. My volume was down low.
Does the app have a calculator how to calculate trees or bushes?
It does. Yeah. Let me go ahead and I'll do a tree inside wrap, and then I'll do a bush for you. And I'll let you know how you need to calculate that, those types. Okay. So we'll go ahead and select what we call as an inside wrap or tree outside wrap. So the different wraps we call inside wrap is going to be your branch wraps. So anytime you're wrapping branches within internally, that's going to be a tree inside wrap. We consider a tree outside wrap the canopy. So if I'm decorating the canopy of a tree, then that's what we call the tree outside wrap. So for this right now, we're going to do a tree inside wrap. Okay. So there's a lot of data in here, and this is probably the number one spot that people lose money is because they try to bid trees maybe from a photo. Don't ever bid a tree from a photo. You cannot tell what the circumference is. You can't tell how large it is. We had one of our guys, out in Dallas, Texas, that tried to be a tree. He got a photo of a tree, and he was looking at it, and it doesn't look very large. And then he saw another photo with a person standing next to it, and it was giant. he bid that project before he had that second photo. He bid that project. He was short by 100 strands. So if you're you're paying $12 per strand, that's $1,200 that you lost right there on that tree. So make sure you take your time on trees and make sure you're getting the measurements. You've got to get out there and do your best to get the measurements. Maybe it's a higher tree, but you've got to get good at this. You got to get good at measuring circumferences. If it's a lower one, if it's a trunk, that's easy to do. The branches are a little bit higher. You may want to get a ladder and get up there and measure the circumference of the branches, because it's important. You can really lose a lot of money if you're not bidding these properly. So in this first thing, we got the trunk data. You can see right there. So what is the trunk height in feet? Pretty simple. I'm going to take my measuring tape. I'm going to measure how many feet am I decorating height wise. So let's just say this is a 6-foot trunk. What is my spacing, vertical spacing in inches that I'm decorating? Okay. How many feet or how many inches am I going as I wrap the lights around the tree? How many inches am I spacing them out? So vertical spacing, we do anywhere from 5 to 6 inches. We usually do a hand is what we do. And that comes out to be about 5 to 6 inches. So on this one, I'm going to decorate 6 inches. And it's important too. If you say you're going to decorate 6 inches, and I would never say this to the customer. I'm not going to tell customer we're going vertical spacing 6 inches, because then they're going to go out. They're going to get that crazy customer that's out there measuring. You guys are off a little bit. You need to redo it. So when we're talking about, or when we're doing sales and pitching to the customer, we're not talking about vertical spacing. We're talking about, we're going to decorate that tree. We're going to make it look beautiful. We're going to put warm whites on it. It's going to look, outstanding. So we're not talking about vertical spacing, because you don't want them out calling you out on it. Okay. So vertical spacing, 6 inches right here. Average circumference. I'm going to measure the trunk. I'm going to take my cloth tape measure, measure the trunk. So let's just say 36 inches, 3 feet. How many trunks do we have? In this instance, we're just going to say we have one. If I had, 2 trunks that branched off, then I want to make sure I'm putting, I want to select this number. I want to go 2. But in this instance, we're just going to do 1. And then we have to do the branch wrap data. Okay. Branch wrap height. So we need to determine, now, if you can't get up there and measure it, you're going to have to get good at this and guesstimate basically what you have to do. And you have to determine, not from the ground, but from where the trunk ends, my branches go out, how far are we going to decorate? So hopefully you can either measure it. If not, you're going to have to get good at, guesstimating on those. So with this one, we're just going to say we're going to go up 6 feet. It's also important when doing these trees, if you're not doing it already, take a photo and make sure you mark it up and it's included in your estimate to the customer, and they're signing off on, yes, this is how high we're decorating. You don't want to get in a position where they're like, oh, you're supposed to go a lot higher. Your installers, out there, they're going based on, what you told them to do. If you don't have anything to reference, you're going to get to the point where it's he said, she said type thing. And the customer's always right. You're going to have to decorate, some more. You have to go higher. So make sure you take those photos, you mark it up. The customer signs off on, yes, this is how we're going, and the branches. You want to make sure you have that. So what is my branch spacing in inches? What are we decorating? Typically, we go a little bit closer depending on the circumference of the branches. We'll go a little bit closer on the branches. So I'm going to put 4 inch, because I'm going to say these are a little small circumferences. And then what is the largest circumference in inches? So if I have 6 branches going off, I'm going to measure the largest, and that's what I'm going to use as my circumference. Okay. So I'm going to measure the circumference. I'm going to say this one is 12 inches. And how many branches are we decorating? So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you discuss with the customer. We're going to do 6 branches. Special conditions, anything I need to add in here, I can add a percentage, or I can add the percentage down below if I want to up this a little bit. So you have 2 opportunities to add a percentage. It's up to you how you want to do it. Description, decorate, branches, 6 branches with the warm white mini lights, whatever you want to add there. Again, if you want to convey it over to your installers, or if this is something for the customer, you want to make sure that you're on the same page and we're both understanding what we're decorating. I could take a photo of that tree. I could mark it up. That's where I'm talking about marking it up, how the height we're decorating. So you can do that as well. Here's my markup on the tree. So this tree right here is saying it's going to take me it's going to cost $84 to do this tree. I would probably up my thing up here a little bit, $150. This is labor only I'm marking up. Okay. So I would charge the customer $210.75 just for labor. And the customer's not seeing this screen. I'm not showing the screen like, 150-cent markup. They're not seeing any of this information. So you don't want to be showing them, as you're typing it in, you don't want to be showing the screen to them. And then type of lights I'm going to use. In this instance, we're going to be using LED mini lights. Okay, it's done the calculations for me. It's saying I'm going to use 180 feet, 180 divided by 25. That's going to be 7.2 strands. It's going to charge the customer for 8 strands because we can't cut many lights. So we're going to have to figure out what to do with that extra, the extra strand that we have. If there's excess, whatever, we just do a long wrap down is what we do on the branch. We don't ever go across from branch to branch. That's very important. So that's going to charge the customer based on 8 strands. We're going to charge them for all that information we just put in there. Total cost of that tree is going to be $316.75 to the customer. We're going to click save. And oops. And there we go. We have a roof line and we have a tree inside wrap. Okay, that's all the customer wanted. That's great. Yeah, super. We can go into customer, John Smith. I can send it to the customer. This is non-itemized. This is just basically, it's going to say Christmas light installation. It's going to give a price for John. My terms and conditions will be there. My company logo will be on there. Everything I input into my settings will be available on there. I can send it to the office. If I want to send it to my office, I want them to put it in the CRM. I can click that, send it to the office. I can send it to the office itemized so they can see the breakdown. They can see the descriptions. They can see everything. They can see that how much we charge for roof lines, how much we charge for bushes. You can also have your office have access to this as well. So they can have them log in. They can get access to the same app. They can see everything that's within the app as long as you're using the same login to get in the app. You can see and share the app. Send a customer itemized if I want it broken down, if that's the way I like it. And that's the different opportunities to send it out. Okay, so I'm going to go back.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Kyle was asking, how is the labor amount being calculated? Is that a formula on the back end based on the time that amount should be taken to install?
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah, these are formulas that we have on the back end, and we actually just increased our formulas a little bit just for inflation and all that fun stuff. So it is based on time that it's taken you for the project. It's not a perfect science. But again, as I mentioned, guys, been using this for years, these formulas for 10 plus years. We just took them and put them in app form. So there is back-end formulas that are, going into this situation. So, with the trees, we've tested the trees time and time again, and it's within inches. If it tells me it's going to be, 3 strands, then it's pretty close, within inches. As long as I'm decorating exactly what I put in the app. If I'm saying I'm doing 6-inch vertical spacing, I go 4-inch spacing, I'm going to need more lights. So I'm going to utilize more lights. It's not going to take the amount of lights that it says in the app because I didn't decorate it the way I inputted it. So it's important to make sure that you, sales rep, and whoever the installers are on the same page and understand each other. Yeah, good
Is
question.
there any way of seeing what it looks like from the customer's point of view, the app, when you send the copy? Is there a way of saying that?
Yeah. Let me go ahead and do that. Maybe 1 second there. So I'll do John Smith, and then I will send it. Oh, let me go back to customer, John Smith. So I will go ahead and send it to, I forgot what email I had in there, but I think it's my Gmail. So let me go ahead and open that up. Oh, it's already there. Okay. Oh, no, it's not there. I'm sorry. Let me check my settings where it's going to real quick. Oh, that's my Hotmail. I don't have that anymore. Let me change this. Actually, I sent it to the customer. Let me send it. I didn't put an email. So that brings up a good point. I didn't put an email in there for the customer. So it basically just went into La La Land, but what I'm going to do is send it to my Gmail account. Save it. Okay. I'm going to go back to my customer, John Smith, and I'm going to send to the office. And that, because I put that in the system, that'll actually come to my Gmail account. So I'll give it a minute. Let me check on that here shortly, and then we'll just get back into it. I'm going to show the bushes one because I know somebody had a question about bushes. So I will go ahead and do that, and let's get to estimates. Once it pops in, I will make sure I pull that up. Okay, so we're back into John Smith. We're going to add another section. We're going to have bushes. So while we're on tree inside, let me just go to tree outside real quick, and then we'll get to bushes. And it's the same information. So if I'm doing an outside wrap, it's going to ask you trunk if we're decorating the trunk. If we're not, if we're just running X wire up the tree and we're just doing the outside canopy, we're just going to put zeros here. You got to make sure you put zeros because this is required, even though there's a zero there already. I'm just going to put zeros because I'm not decorating the trunk. So then I'm going to go down to my wrap height in feet. And this is where you have to guesstimate. So whatever the size of the canopy is, same information. You're going to guesstimate what you think the canopy is. Vertical line spacing. This is a little bit more difficult because depending on the tree, there may be missing branches. So you got to do your best. You're probably going to do anywhere from, a foot to a foot and a half. But it's hard to get it. If there's no branches there, it's hard to keep it, that vertical spacing. It's not like wrapping a branch or a tree or a trunk. So it's a little bit more difficult to get the branch spacing or the vertical spacing on this one. I'd probably put a foot here, 12 inches. Large circumference, you need to have a measuring wheel because you do want to measure the circumference of the tree. And then you're going to multiply it times 65% because trees are not a square. So they get smaller at the top. So you're using less lights at the top, maybe less lights on the bottom. So that's why we have that calculation. If it's 24 feet, I'm going to take 65% of 24 feet. And that's what I'm going to use right there. If it's 100 feet, I'm going to put 65 feet in there is what I'm going to put. We'll just make it easy that way. But because again, trees are typically, cone shape. So you're using less lights at the top versus the bottom. Okay, then how many trees am I decorating? Maybe I have 10 trees I'm doing. They're all pretty similar. If they're not similar, I would probably estimate these separately. Okay, so let me just discard that. I'm going to add a bush in here. Okay, so the next one is bushes. Okay, so how we measure bushes is we measure the surface area. So that's the surface area we're decorating. So I walk up the bush. If it's a round bush, I'm going to basically act as if it's a square is what I'm going to do, or a box is what I'm going to do if I'm measuring, if I'm doing the top and all that stuff. So you want to do length times height is what we're taking. So we measure the length of the bush, and it may be 7 feet. The height of the bush we're decorating, about 2 feet. So that's 14. That's what I'm going to put in this information if I'm just decorating that one part of it. Once I input 14 here, another bush area pops up if I want to keep it all separate. What I would do is I would go out and I would probably add all the surface areas of the bushes I'm decorating, combine it into one and just input it in here. So maybe we're decorating the top as well. If we decorate they're the same size, the top is the same. So I'm going to do 28 here. When we're decorating bushes, we teach random S patterns is what we teach. We try to stay away from net lighting. You can use it for net lighting as well if you want to, but what we teach is random S patterns as you're weaving throughout the bushes like this. So that's what this calculations are taking that into consideration. The feet of light could vary how many feet it says you're using versus what you use, because your S patterns may be a little bit wider than mine, or maybe, closer than mine. So it may not be a perfect science on what it's telling you, how many feet of light you're using because you decorated closer spacing. Okay, so whatever my bush area is, I need to measure the length times height, and then of all the areas we're decorating. You can combine them all together. If there's another bush that I want to add in here, okay, there's another one, but it's a different size. Measure length times height. Actually, it's a lot more, so it turns out to be 58. Another opportunity will pop up if I want to do it here, bush area 3. Okay. So you can take this, you can combine all these numbers together, put it in bush area 1 if you want. That's up to you how you want to do that. You just need to make sure you're measuring the surface area of your deck where you're decorating and inputting that number, combining them all together, inputting that into the system. Once again, special conditions, yes or no. Description, decorate bush areas with 4-inch spacing, warm white mini lights. whatever you want to put in this, in this description box to convey to either your installers or the customer. You input that in there. Maybe snap a photo of it. You can snap multiple photos if you want. Just take a photo of it, just draw all over it. I don't use that as our tool. We like to, there's a couple different apps out there, design apps. If you want to utilize those, you can mock it up. Time is money when you're doing these installs or you're doing these bids. So, for you to sit there and take your time really to like get detail on this stuff and decorate it, make sure it looks pretty and stuff like that. You've got to get the estimate done. You want to be out of there in 20 minutes and move on. If it's just a standard install, if it's something that's a little bit more opportunity, yeah, you want to take some more time and do some measurements and make sure you're getting proper numbers. Okay, as I scroll down, my default markup, $32.72 for that surface area, labor charge. And then I want to check what mini lights I'm using. If I'm using, let's say I use, 4-inch spacing on bushes, and I decide that I want to use 6-inch spacing on trees, you can do that. I wouldn't recommend it. I would stay consistent across the board. If you're brand new starting into this, I would start with, I recommend 4-inch spacing. It's a little bit more expensive, but there's, if it's 24-foot strand, there's 20 more bulbs per strand versus 6-inch spacing. There's 50 bulbs. 4-inch spacing has 70 bulbs. So I would probably recommend, or I would recommend 4-inch spacing if you're brand new. Maybe you have a mix and match. Over the years you've been doing this, you mixed and match. If you do that, you want to make sure you have LED mini lights, 4-inch spacing in here, and then LED mini lights, 6-inch spacing. Within this one, I would select the corresponding one. So this one, we're just going to do mini lights. It's telling me 279 feet of lights is what I'm using. So that would be based on what I put in there, divided by 25. So that would be 11 strands. That's what it's saying I'm using on the surface area I put up here. Okay. And then the total cost is $234.26 to do that bush or multiple bushes of that size. Okay. Click save. And we've got our bushes in there. If I want to look at summary of the customer, I can go to summary. This actually gives me the total price for everything, $1321.32, roof lines, tree wraps. Maybe the customer's budget was just right around $1,000. Well, we could take off that tree. If you don't want to decorate that tree, we could take that off. I can always click let me go back. I did click down here, down the bottom right. This gives me the summary. And then John Smith, they didn't want to do that. What I can do is select here. I just hit tree inside wrap, and I can delete that section if I wanted to. I'm not going to do it here. We're just going to cancel. And we're going to leave that in there. Okay. Hopefully I answered the question on the bushes. If you have any questions on any of those, you definitely let me know and I can run through it more. We can always spend some time afterwards if you want to do a one-on-one, if you're not quite understanding it, or you have any questions about the how the pricing is working, all that stuff. There are formulas in the back end, as I mentioned, and we've done a lot of testing over the years and retesting to make sure that we're making money in this, with this estimating app. Okay, so let's go back to estimates. John Smith, again, he's the only one in there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on him. And we can add another section. So let's go in here. See if there's any other difficult sections. Balconies and fence lines, we can talk about that one. So if you're decorating a balcony or fence line, again, you want to establish difficulty level 1. Typically, a balcony or a fence line is going to be probably difficulty level 1. It's not very hard to get to. This is one of the easier installs. You need to measure how many feet you're decorating difficulty level 1. So I'm measuring what the run is. So we're going to decorate 100 feet of difficulty level 1 for a fence line. Is there another wrap we're doing? We're not doing other wraps because sometimes we do multiple wraps. If we do a swag. A swag is just basically, and we have some examples on the website in the back end if you want to take a look at it. A swag would just be coming down like this. You can see down here, I have V pattern, swag, or none. If we're just going straight across, that would be a none. If I'm doing a swag where I'm swagging it down, you can use this for Garland too. So all we would do is we would select our Garland product when we get down to the product menu. So in this instance, let's just say we're doing swags. I'm going to select swag. Div level 1, we have 100 feet of it. Lit garland, yes or no? You don't really need to do this because you've already incorporated that into your price. So it does add a little percentage to it, but you don't have to worry about so much because you should have within your product, you should have lit garland or unlit garland. Okay, so we're going to go description, decorate fence line with swags all the way down, lit garland, whatever I want to type there. Take a photo of the fence line, scroll down here, type of lights within here. I would click lit garland, 121 feet, it's telling me. And my light charge, it's a lot of garland. So based on that, 121 divided by 9-foot sections, that's 14 strands of garland times whatever I put in there. So 14 times 50, I believe is what I put. So we're at $700. Garland's expensive. That's based on $50 charge. So depending on how much you get your garland for, that was just the number I threw out there. $700, you know, for lit garland right there. Total cost of that fence line, $982.76. Save it. And we've got that in with a customer. If we're way over budget, let's see where we're at. All right, Mr. Smith, we're at $2,300. I know you said you want to be right around $2,000. This will get you the roof lines, tree inside wrap, the bushes, balcony fence line, everything we discussed. What do you say? Present the highest option first. You know, that's a little bit high. Okay, well, we can do this. We can take the bushes off. We can get you down about, you know, 75, 80 bucks. How does that sound? Perfect. Let's move forward. Okay. Any questions so far? Nothing? Chelsea, we're all right? I can hear Chelsea scrambling. She's working.
Sorry, yes, I'm actually
okay.
I'm actually working. Kelton asked, can we add a new section fields? Does the estimating app work with CRMs, anything like that? And can it be imported to Tinsel, Jobber, etc.?
It's a request I've had. Unfortunately, no, not at this point. No CRM interaction. I'm looking into it this year, but I don't think at this point we're going to be able to do it just because it's getting too close to the season, and I don't want to mess with it too much because I don't want it to break, and we've lost everything in it. So does not at this point. I apologize. If you want, you know, like as I mentioned earlier, if you want to send the estimate to the customer, or I'm sorry, to your office, and they can input it into a CRM. I know it's double the work, but you know, if that's an option for you as well. So I'd recommend doing that. So it does not incorporate with any CRMs at this point, but something that's on the agenda for us to figure out. I'm gonna go back to my estimate. For some reason, my estimate didn't get sent to me. Let me go ahead and put the customer in here.
While you're doing that, is there, would the app have any preloaded items you guys potentially sell already in there? Do we have to enter it in manually?
You have to enter it in, but you know, if you have a lot of stuff, if there's a lot of stuff that you want to send us in an Excel spreadsheet, we can actually upload it on the back end if you want. You know, that's something we could do. It just depends on where you buy from. Your prices are gonna, you know, they're gonna fluctuate. So your price is gonna be different than somebody in California versus somebody in Florida. So there's really no way for us to put it in the system. You know, you may use 6-inch spacing, and for us to have, you know, 4-inch spacing preloaded or whatever, because you can't change the descriptions within the products. So that's kind of where the challenge comes into play. So we don't have anything, but again, if you want to type out on a spreadsheet, if that's easier for you, we can actually do that and upload it into your system. It's a good question though. Lots of good questions. Okay, so is there any particular anything else you guys want me to go through? You can see the sections are all pretty similar as far as, you know, the input. You get the markup, all that stuff. So I can go through any sections you want, but they're all kind of the same. Columns and pillars is going to be the same stuff. Linear feet, what are we decorating? What is our vertical spacing in inches? What is our circumference? Typically, you know, a column is going to be the same all the way up. If you somehow have a column that's different sizes, you want to take your average is what you want to take. How many columns are we doing? You know, 2 of them. Click it. You've got all this stuff, all this same information, description, take a photo, markup. If you want to change that markup, you can. And then it's going to give you your break even, labor charge. So all the sections are pretty similar. It's just different information that you have to input in the system. But we covered the main ones as far as, you know, bushes, tree inside, tree outside. Windows is going to ask you what the perimeter is. Light stakes is going to ask you how many feet of light stakes are you doing. Got to measure that out. Palm tree, a lot of you may not know what a palm tree is. We have a lot of those in California, but palm tree is just basic information. Trunk, how high we're decorating, circumference, and then vertical spacing. Those three will give me a price that I'm charging the customer. Ridge lines going to be a lot more expensive. So you do have an opportunity if you want to do that. Roof lines, windows, wreaths. If we're installing a wreath, I can select that one. Daily level 1, how many wreaths am I installing? I'm just doing one wreath. We're doing on the front house. It's going to tell me what I charge the customer. $21, $48. If I want to mark that up a little bit more because it's a little bit more of an install, maybe I've got to drill. I've got to do a lot more stuff. Anybody that's done wreaths, they're great upsells. Anybody that's done wreaths the first year, yeah, it may take you a little bit more time to put the anchor points and all that fun stuff, depending on the size. But you know, the second year install is basic. You know, we can do an install in probably under 5 minutes on certain wreaths on residential properties. So when I'm charging the customer, that's 130% markup. I'm basically charging them $50 for that wreath, including the lease rate of the wreath, whatever it may be. 36-inch wreath charge. Charging $100 just to install that wreath the next year when it took me 5 minutes to do it. So, and again, if I feel like that's a little bit more expensive, what I can do is I can mark this down a little bit. Yeah, they're going to go for that. So I can do my markup down 100%, $42. Okay, that was $94 sound. Perfect. Let's do it. Go to my summary. We are at $2,300, $2,398, right at the customer's budget because they're at $2,400. We can add more if we want. We can take away some if we need to.
Is there an option? I don't know what the other site looks like, but is there an option where if they do the leasing or the 3-year or 2-year contract, where if they click and submit for next year and potentially pay ahead of time, is there an option for that where the customer can basically say, well, I can just go back to the same email and already book for next year? Is that an option? They
can't book through the system. That would be something you would have to do within your CRM. All the information is going to be in here. If you want to copy the estimate over, you can do that as well. So you can go in here. I can go to John Smith's. I can go back to John Smith's estimate from last year, copy it over, and import everything that we did from last year. As far as sending the customer, there's no within the app. There's no way for them to pay or any of that stuff. So if you want to do that, which I'd recommend putting in your CRM. Hopefully we can get it, where it's actually speaking to CRMs and you can send it out through there. I know a lot of people like to ask for tips, after the install when they get their other 50% for the install. This does not have that capabilities. I don't know if that answered your question. If it didn't, just let me know. I can reiterate. Hopefully that answered it.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so let me see. I have so many filters on my email. I don't know. Let me figure out where that estimate went. I'm going to try something else here because that estimate did not come into me. You shouldn't have to do any updates on this. You can see up here in the top corner, there are 4 changes pending, but it'll do it on its own. So you shouldn't have to do anything as far as refresh. If I hit refresh, it'll refresh the screen. It'll make those 4 changes that I did or updates, whatever I did, it'll do it for me. If I just leave it right there, this number will drop here in just a minute. So let me go back to the customer. Oh, I'm actually there. So I'm going to send, let's see if it comes to that email address. Okay, while I'm waiting for that, do we have any other questions that, anything, other sections you guys want me to run through? Hopefully it makes more sense. I know I talked about it in my trainings. If you haven't seen it before, if you're not part of the CLIPA estimating app forum, join that. It doesn't cost anything. It's in Facebook. That's where we will post updates. We'll post any important changes we've made. So you want to make sure you join that. I know, it's just another forum we have to join, but it is an opportunity for us to update you guys. If there's any questions, you guys can reach out to me. You can email me. It's matt@clipa.com. You can see it right there. I don't know why the estimate's not coming in, so it must be something in the system I've got to figure out. So I do apologize for that. What I can do is, Chelsea, do we have everybody's information that's in here, email addresses, or?
We do. Did it go to your spam or promotions?
I'm checking all my.
Because I might have gotten stuck.
Yeah, I'm checking my junk mail. Let me try doing this. We got so many filters on my email. Who knows where it went?
I can also find in my app an example.
Okay, let me see if this 1 of 5 is maybe that's why it's just waiting for the changes, the update. And checking my spam.
Okay, I have mine pulled up too, if you guys want to see.
Okay. Yeah, I got an error on it, so I'm not sure what you have the estimate actually.
Yeah, well, I have a different one of like what I've done, just so people can see. They want to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I was going to show them what the actual estimate that goes to the customer, but for some reason it's not coming in.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to share my screen.
And I got an error for some reason.
Okay, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So here's my estimate. There's Remy. And this is an itemized one.
Oh yeah, so this is similar. So right now you don't have, it's missing like your logo.
Yeah.
You don't have
Remy is my logo.
Okay, so this is what the estimate would somewhat look like. I know it's not the prettiest, but she has her dog in there versus a logo. And then she's got her address, all that information right there. The top left, that's the stuff that's in the settings. So the sales rep's name, her company name, a phone number, email address, if they want to reach back out to her. And then the customer's information. If you don't put anything in the customer's information, if you just put John Smith in there, that's all that's going to show up in that section right there. So it'll be a little bit more pretty if you input their information. This is the itemized part of it. And this is where it shows roof lines, tree inside. She didn't put any descriptions in the tree inside wrap. You can see that. So if you want to send it to the customer itemized, you can do it that way. And as you scroll down, you can see no labor tax. She doesn't have terms and conditions in there currently. Doesn't look like as described on the estimate. So right there, that's where your terms and conditions would populate right there. She did take one photo, apparently. I don't know what that is. You just kind of took a picture of something white and you drew on it.
Yeah.
All the photos would show up in that section right there for the customer to see. So that's somewhat of an estimate right there. It's not completely filled out. Oh, looks like I just got it.
Okay, cool. I'll stop sharing my screen now.
Yeah. Okay, so I got it right here. Can you see my screen? Or do I need to share again?
Oh, we need to share it again. Sorry, I took over.
Okay, let me know if you can see it.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the estimate that came through the customer. I'm not sure why it was taking so long, but it did go out to the customer. It's just basic information. Again, I have my company name, my name, phone number, my email address that I have in my system under settings. There's my logo, company information, sent on, when did we send it, and then the total that we're charging the customer. This is a non-itemized estimate right here. So this is just basically saying Christmas light installation, residential Christmas light installation, 230408. I'm not charging anything material because I don't sell my product. I lease my product. No labor tax. We don't charge in California. We don't charge that. Total due. And then you can see I do have my terms and conditions in here. I've got partial terms and conditions. So it just says customer is reviewed. It got cut off because I don't know if I didn't put it all in there. But if I had it all in there, it would be moving on. So I didn't take any photos or anything like that. So there's nothing else in here. So this is just a basic estimate that goes to the customer. And Chelsea, the one she just showed you is obviously an older one because it's a different format. If this was itemized, you would just see roof lines, you would see bushes, you would see trees, and then it'd be my description that I input in that section, what I'm charging for the roof lines, what I'm charging for the trees, what I'm charging for the bushes, and so on and so forth. Total to the customer, and so on. Okay, so I'm glad that came through. I was able to show that. Actually, looks like it came through a few times. So now it comes through. Okay, so that's kind of the gist of it. If there's anything else you guys want me to go through, I definitely will. And again, if you're still not understanding it, please reach out to us. If you're going to use it for the season, this app was developed so you know, to make sure that you're making money. A lot of people get in this industry, they don't know how to bid projects. We use a lot of these formulas ourselves, you know, and you know, we do very well. A lot of these guys, you know, the Ryan Foxes, you know, those guys that are doing over $1 million of Christmas lights, this is the formulas they were using when they started these in this industry. So, you know, it's a little bit easier for them now because they've done so many trees, they've done so many roof lines where they can go out there, they know, you know, exactly what they charge for that tree. They can actually pinpoint it to like, oh, it's going to be about 22 strands. They're within inches, but they've gotten good at it over time. So this is a great tool if you're just starting out. It's a great tool for making sure you don't lose money. And even if you're hiring several, you know, sales reps, if you want to grow and you're not doing the bidding anymore, you know, maybe you throw them, your sales reps into this and have them bid based on these, this information. So, yeah, if there's any other questions, definitely let me know. I don't mind sticking around and helping people out. Hopefully you guys find it as a great tool, and we're very excited about it. We've had a lot of users over the years. A lot of good feedback. Don't hesitate to, you know, send feedback. I know the CRM is definitely something that people want to integrate into CRMs. It's something we're working on. I can't promise it for the season, but it's something we'll be working on for maybe next season or seasons after. So other than that, I'd love to hear your feedback on if you like it, if you don't, good, bad, ugly. I'm available to hear it, and you're not going to hurt my feelings. I promise. Well, you might a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, well, if there's nothing else, Chelsea, if you have any, there's no more chats or anything like that.
Omar did, I don't know if we answered Omar's question. He said, do you see the difference on booking return when there is an itemized estimate versus non-itemized?
Do we see a difference on return?
I mean, for commercial, I like to do a lump sum. Like I'll tell them what's included, but if I itemize and price stuff out, like it just, for me, I want the least amount of questions asked at a time. So if I do the lump sum, but it says exactly what they're getting, for me, I feel like it's easier to get the money. Where if I have stuff itemized and priced out individually, people kind of sometimes nitpick, but I think it's just up to you too and how you're selling. Of course, if the customer asks me, I'm always going to give them itemized pricing, but I like to do, you know, here's your lump sum, this is what's included. And then if you'd like us to, if you needed something a little bit cheaper or a different rate, we can go ahead and take some stuff out and go from there.
Sure. Yeah.
At what point did
you guys go ahead?
Lisa, as a random question, at what point did you realize you needed a salesperson, and how did you get a salesperson? Side note.
At what point did we decide we needed a salesperson?
Yeah, that's where I think I'm at overall, but I'm trying to see
When you're
way further than I am.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting plenty of estimate requests and you're overwhelmed yourself, I mean, for me, when I started, I actually had a business partner that he was doing the estimates, the biddings, and I was doing all the installs. So it was a lot easier for us to do that. We handle more jobs. So if you feel like you're ready to grow and you can handle, you know, hiring more crew members, then I would definitely hire a salesperson at some point and have them go out and do the bids. If you're doing the installs, or you're doing, you know, maybe you're doing the bidding and they're doing the installs, however. But I think it's definitely a great opportunity to do that. And I would definitely do that. You can always get, you know, not to be mean, but you can always pull back and get rid of them if it's not working out. But, you know, how many years you've been doing this?
Well, I'm coming on the event side. So this is my first year. I did the training with you guys in Orange County a month ago or so.
Yeah.
So I'm on the wedding side. I'm trying to get into this side of things, but I still there's a lot of opportunity for me on the wedding side, but also this side. So I can only do so much. I already have the labor in place. So I'm just gonna use my guys from the regular year to do this Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
But I gotta feed them, if you know what I mean. I need more revenue. I can't be everywhere and do everything at once.
Yeah, sure. I would probably hire a sales rep now and start pushing forward with this stuff. You know, at least entertaining the option to do it. You're not gonna, they're not gonna be out doing sales right now unless you're doing commercial. Commercial, you can start in February. So if you want to go, you know, try to tackle some commercial jobs, you can definitely hire a sales rep now to go after that stuff. For residential, you're going to start your marketing campaigns probably later August, September, as we're going to start doing, if you're doing, you know, every door direct, or, you know, if you're doing bootleg signs, whatever. It's getting earlier and earlier every year. We started installing on October 1st. So you don't want to wait till October 1st to start doing those campaigns. But I would definitely recommend, and if I remember correctly, you're in the high desert. Is that right?
Yeah, actually I have a meeting with the mall up here.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm like, oh crap. So I'm meeting with the mall. I told I forgot who I told. I have a Best Western, and also Holiday Inn is also interested. So
Great.
I got some potentials coming my way.
That's great. Yeah, that's awesome. And you already have the labor lined up. That's probably the hardest part right there, is the labor. But if you've already got that lined up, getting the jobs, that's kind of the easy part, you know, or I think it is. If you need help with anything too, we're always available here. We can help you with those commercial projects. I don't know if Chelsea's already been helping you, but you know, that's stuff we can help you on and guide you through it, and, you know, hopefully help you land it. Well, good. Any other questions? If anything comes up, please don't hesitate. That's what we're here for. You know, we're all here for you. You can email me, Matt at CLIPA. It's on the screen right there, matt@clipa.com. We can set up a meeting. We can set up a Zoom. We can do one-on-one. If you can't figure this out, if it's still not clear to you how to use this estimating app, let's make sure we get together and we go through this. I don't want to wait till November, December, or I was saying November. December is too late, way too late. November is even too late. But we don't want to wait till then to get you guys understanding how this thing works. And I would go out there and I would take it. If you decide to use the estimating app, I would go out there and do some measurements, test it, wrap a tree, and you know, by all means, you know, see what it comes out to. But this is built to ensure that you make money and don't do a one and done season where you get to the end and, oh geez, I got to go take everything down and pay my employees. This is built to ensure that you're making money. So I think I heard something come in. Was there a chat?
Omar was just asking, not related to the app, but being solo and first year, how many accounts on average can a solo operator be able to handle?
Running by yourself, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Just only installer. God, I'd say you could probably do, I'm just guesstimating on one person. I mean, I could do 10 to 12 houses a day myself.
Stop, Matt.
I'm just kidding. I would imagine you're probably going to do, you know, it depends how many days you want to work, hours you want to work, but you're probably going to knock out, you know, maybe 3 or 4 per day. Depends on the size of the projects that you're doing. If you're just doing roof lines, you can get out there and you could probably knock about 3 or 4 a day. So that's, you know, whatever, you're working 5 days a week, that's 20 a week. But you know, you're by yourself, so you're getting exhausted, you're gonna need more days off and things like that. Yeah, you know, I would say probably, you know, 30 to 40, you know, somewhere around there, houses, maybe 50. Someone can correct me. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure how many you can pull off by yourself. It just depends on, you know, the decorating, you know, the houses you're decorating, how big they are, what size jobs you're bidding, you know, things like that. So
the 2-man crews that I work with, like the people that I know, that it's just, you know, a couple of guys, they can usually do like 60 homes, but there's 2 of them. So maybe, and you'll be at the training in Nashville, Omar. So when you'll be able to speak to some other people, we have some people that are going there too, who have been doing this a few years. They attended our training a few years ago, and they're just trying to grow, and they'll share their experience kind of where they've started and then how they've grown the crews too, and then how they manage multiple crews. So that'll be helpful.
Yeah, you're going to learn a lot at that training. We're excited for the Nashville training. We're almost sold out on that training, so that's going to be a good one. But yeah, we're excited. We're going to teach you all that stuff, the basics, and that's a great question to ask there. We can ask some of the guys, you know, that are going to be out there. Brett Madison's going to be out there helping us train. He's doing over $1 million in Christmas lights, him and his business partner, Ryan Fox. JC Chanowski, he's one of our trainers. He's going to be out there, as well as Chelsea. So we're going to have a good group of trainers out there, very successful trainers, and teach you guys everything you need to know.
And then Carly and Jeremy were asking, after you calculate and input the estimate in the app, does it also show how many strands, lights, et cetera, that you need?
No, you would have to go into each section individually. Like I would have to go into John Smith, and I would kind of have to calculate that myself. Like if I did the tree inside wrap, it might tell me feet here. No, it doesn't. I would have to go into this section right here individually and see how many feet it is. Right here, it's telling me it's 180 feet. I would have to do the math, 180 divided by 25-foot strands. So 7.2 strands, 8 strands, essentially, for decorating this tree. So you would have to do it that, that way. It's not actually going to tell you how many strands, because people use different length strands. I guess we could try to figure out some way to have, like, if you do mini lights on bushes and trees, some way that it can, translate over and say, oh, you're going to need, 60 strands for this install. That's something we can look at adding, but not without you individually going in there and figure out how many feet it is. Like right here, I could do 180 divided by 25, and it's 8 strands.
Yeah. And I think the hard part too is if you are, let's say you are using strands from a different vendor, that's maybe not one of our preferred vendors. Our standard length is like 25 feet, but if you go to someone else and it's 17 feet, like you're kind of, if we put the actual strand in there, it might mess you up. Where if this, like when I'm estimating trees, I use this for all of the trees I do. When it gives me that total feet, it's easier for me to just divide it out based on the product that I'm using.
Yeah, with the app, it doesn't really matter if it's a 17 or 24 or 30 foot, 50-foot strand. I think what she's looking for is something at the end. If I were to go into like estimates and I go into like the details, maybe here it says, this is the price, and then it says total feet. That's something we can look at maybe incorporating. So I know for this, maybe it says like mini lights, total feet, C9 or strands, total feet. And then it gives me a quick estimate right here, somewhere in this category. I do see what you're looking for. There is nothing that shows that. It's just individual. You have to go into roof line, see how many feet it is. Then you would have to go into, tree wrap inside and so on and so forth. I might be able to add like a total feet up here, which says cost and light charge. I might be able to add total feet, and it would just kind of show it here. Then you can, it'd be easier rather than going individually. So that's something I can look at adding, this year. I could probably look at adding that possibly. I don't want to promise anything, but that's a good question. And that's a great addition if we can add it in. I love the feedback. I'd love to, that's kind of where it's developed over the years. And Tom Snoggles is one of our biggest advocates, and he likes to tell me every year, different things. And we've actually, incorporated a lot of stuff that he's thrown out there, and it's great ideas. And, I'll do whatever I can to make it better. Can only get better on this. All right. Any other questions? Well, I hope everybody understands it. I hope everybody, if you don't, again, I can't stress it enough, contact me, contact Chelsea. We'll make sure that you understand it before you get into it. Give us your feedback. If you just think it's crap, let us know it's crap, and we'll do our best to make it better. But again, a lot of guys are using this. A lot of successful companies out there are using this as their pricing formulas, and they're successful because they're pricing things right. So you don't want to get caught if this is your first year. You don't want to get stuck underbidding jobs and finding out in the season, December, your bank account may look great, but you got to go take everything down, and you got to pay, salaries and wages and stuff like that. Then you didn't quite have as much as you did or thought you did. And those are called the one and done seasons. I see those guys, and those are the guys that don't go take things down because they didn't make enough money in the beginning to make sure that they could run a successful Christmas-like business. So that's kind of why we established this, and we're looking forward to everybody's feedback and hearing about the success stories of how your season went. Looking forward to that. Hopefully, we'll see you guys at an event coming up, or at the huge convention coming up next month. We're going to be out there. We have a training in Nashville, and then we are putting together CLIPA next year, which is very exciting. Lots of vendors, lots of speakers. If you weren't able to join us in Nashville this last year, it was a great event. We're looking forward to next year in Las Vegas. So whatever, maybe you don't use the app, maybe you're not buying from us, maybe you're not using our training or anything like that. Hopefully there's something we can offer. And if not, then we'll still have a beer at some point. All right, Chelsea, nothing else?
Nope, we're good to go. We have a Christmas in July special going on right now too on bulbs and mini lights. So if you guys need anything, it's going on through the end of the week.
That's right.
It's 20% off those items. So it's good stuff. Yeah, so thank you guys so much.
20%, that's a good
Yes.
discount.
Yes, just bulbs and sparkle bulbs. Oh yeah, sparkle bulbs, mini lights, ridge clips, and light stakes. So if
Yeah.
you guys need to add anything on or you need anything else, this is a good time because it's going to get really crazy when we come back from the huge convention and we'll be pumping out a lot of orders all day long. So, so don't miss out.
Yep. So if you want to check out our products, we have WeSellChrystusLights.com. You can visit that and you can check out our products. Make sure if you're a CLIPA member, you talk to your sales rep and get a login because you do get a discount if you take one of our trainings or if you're a CLIPA member. So make sure you hit them up for that. But I do appreciate everybody's time. I know your time is valuable. Hopefully you learned something here today and hopefully you're excited about using the app and hopefully you're excited about the season. Brand new getting into this. You made the right decision getting into this industry. I've been doing this since '98 and I'm still here. So very excited to pass everything on to you guys and hopefully teach you and at some point meet up with you and hang out. So thank you very much and take care.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.